Hey everybody, welcome to our read aloud for this week. This week, we're going to think about adding a new reading comprehension strategy to the ones we've already learned this year. So if you think back all the way back to the beginning of the year, long time ago, the reading strategies we've learned so far are visualizing, making inferences about characters, wondering and questioning, using text features, and the new one we're going to think about this week is determining important ideas. It's important that when you're reading, you're trying to determine or you're thinking about what is the important idea in this text? What is the most important part, or what does the author really want me to remember about what I'm reading? So while you're listening to the pages I read from our book this week, I really want you to be thinking about what's the most important idea that the author is trying to tell me. So here is the cover of the book we're going to read this week, and it's called Lifetimes by David L. Rice, illustrated by Michael S. Made It. This book, Lifetimes, is about animal and plant lifetimes. A lifetime is how long an animal or plant is expected to live. For example, a lifetime for a human being is about 85 years. We are going to be reading the page today about ants. So I want you to go ahead and pause this video and think, what do I already know about ants? So again, the question is, what do I already know about ants? And I want you to pause the video here. You should have just thought about what you already knew about ants. So go ahead and pause the video again and click on your first question slide, and you can already type the answer to that question. It should say, what do you already know about ants? So go ahead and pause the video here and type what you just thought of in. Welcome back. You should have just typed what you think you already know about ants. So I'm going to read the page today about ants, and I want you to be thinking about what you're learning about them and what interesting facts the story is telling us. So I will get the page up for you, and unfortunately it's just an excerpt from the book, so you don't get to see the really, really cool pictures that are in the book that I wish you could, but maybe I'll post the pictures somehow of the pages. I don't even know if a picture though will be able to look as good as these look. They're really, really pretty pictures. All right, so go ahead and follow along as I read. A lifetime for an army ant is about 3 years. Army ants are famous for their ability to work together to accomplish amazing things. They march along like soldiers, sometimes a million at a time. Nothing can stop them. When they come to a river, they make an ant bridge of themselves to get across. If the river is very wide, they form large ant balls and float to the other side. Army ants eat mostly insects, spiders, and small animals, although they have been known to eat horses, cows, and even tigers that are tied up or caged. People who live in areas with army ants have to leave their homes for a day or two when the ants come marching through. When they return, their houses are completely free of rats, cockroaches, or other pests. And in that last sentence I read, cockroaches are brown or black insects that live in warm, dark places. So it says, when they return, their houses are completely free of rats, cockroaches, or other pests. And when it says other pests, it's talking about creatures that bother or destroy other animals or plants. Right, here is where you can pause the video again and go ahead and go answer question number 2. So you should have listened for an interesting fact or interesting thing that you have learned about army ants. So go ahead and pause the video and go answer question number 2 on the slide that should say, what interesting things have you learned about army ants? All right, I'm going to read the passage one more time for us. While I'm reading this time, I want you to be thinking about, what do you think is the most important to understand and remember in this passage? So what do you think is the most important thing to understand, and why do you think that's important? So a lifetime for an army ant is about 3 years. Army ants are famous for their ability to work together to accomplish amazing things. They march along like soldiers, sometimes a million at a time. Nothing can stop them. When they come to a river, they make an ant bridge of themselves to get across. If the river is very wide, they form large ant balls and float to the other side. Army ants eat mostly insects, spiders, and small animals, although they have been known to eat horses, cows, and even tigers that are tied up or caged. People who live in areas with army ants have to leave their homes for a day or two when the ants come marching through. When they return, their houses are completely free of rats, cockroaches, and other pests. All right, so that was the second time that you heard me read aloud. A lifetime for an army ant is about 3 years and a little bit about army ants. So now you should be able to go ahead and answer the rest of the questions on the slides about the day 1 reading. So the next one you're going to read is, if you had to say what this passage is about in one sentence, what would you say? And the next one is, think about some things we do in our classroom community that remind you of the way the ants live. And then think of some things that we can do that you might do at home that are like the way the ants live. So go ahead and go back to the slides and answer the rest of the questions for day 1.